Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we'll be doing this setup for a bridal shower. As you can see, everything I use will be listed in the description box, and I have links for pretty much everything but the vase I used that had the Pampas grass in it. But I got it from Target in store. I'll try to see if they have it online, and I can leave their link as well. So the first thing I did was attach the bridal sign. Now, before I attached the sign, I added the rig points on the frame first using, I want to say it was 20-pound fishing line, either 20 or 25-pound fishing line. I added the rig points on the pole first, and then I just cut like a long piece of string just so I know I have enough. And then I put of course, the fishing line through the top holes. I only used the top two holes at the top and attached it. And once I had it rigged up, because I wanted to add the sign first just so I know how I can position the balloons. I kind of had a design in mind already, just not fully how I was going to do it once I got on site, but for the most part I had something in mind. Once I attach the sign up, I'm just tightening it up with some fishing line, and I usually just keep it like the fishing line. Anything I have left over, I usually keep it hanging, and then I'll go back and start, when I get to the end, I'll cut off any excess of the fishing line that I have. So once I had the sign up, that's how it looked. I was happy with the position of it all, and that's how I kept it. And then now I'm just going to take out some of the balloons I inflated already. Those high float bags I purchased from Balloons Online as well. I had like a whole roll of them that I use. And it comes in handy a lot. And then now I'm just starting to add on my clusters. I use clusters of 8 and cluster of 6 balloons, and I used a lot of different quads because you guys know, if you watched my last video, how I was talking about blending. So I did use a lot of quads as well to help transition from one color to the next color. That's how I've been blending lately. So now I'm just adding on clusters, and some clusters like this quad I added right here. Later on I end up adding a dupe in there to make a cluster of 6 balloons, which I do that kind of frequently. Making a red point on the floor with the clear Gaff tape that I've been using, which I really love lately, because you can't really see it compared to like the black Gaff tape. And I just put a ray point on the floor just so I don't have too much movement. The design I was thinking to using on this particular setup, you see how the garland is kind of falling back? Well, I kind of wanted the balloons to look like as if they floating in the middle of the frame. So I did end up later on, once the garland got a little bit bigger, I end up attaching a rig point at the top of the frame with some clear with fishing line again, and making sure I wrap that around the cluster. That way it can stand straight up, if that makes sense. But now, and again, the colors are listed in the description box. That is, and I'll go over them really quickly. It was Mirror White Gold by Kalisan, and then the other two are double stuff. So it was White Sand inside of Satin Pearl by Sempertex, and then Chrome Gold or Reflex Gold inside White Sand as well by Sempertex. And those are the colors. It was really simple, yet like it was like the perfect pop at the same time. So right here I'm adding on a quad, and at the end, stay tuned to the end. Even though this setup turned out very, very pretty, of course we always see something that we would change. So I'm just going to show you guys a few little things that my eyes see that I would do differently, or would have done differently if I had like the time, or on site kind of thing, I would have done differently. So I'm going to show you guys at the end just a few things that I would have done that I think is little, they small details, but they can also be game changers at the same time. So I will show you guys at the end. But right now I'm just building out a shape. I'm just going to keep going. I like where it was going. I just needed more. So this is not one of those things where like I didn't like the shape, so I would take it apart. I liked the shape that it was giving, but of course I needed more to fill it out. So that's where my head was at when I was doing the design here. And for setup, I believe we had 2 hours. We had 2 hours to set up, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 2 hours. And I had to inflate some stuff, some on site, because I did have to bring all this in my vehicle. I didn't rent a U-Haul for this, because the frame can pretty much, I break it up in threes and it can fit in my car. And then everything else was pretty much lightweight, so I was able to fit everything, but I wasn't able to inflate as much as I usually do if I'm just bringing the balloons by itself. But here I am just still adding on, as you guys know, the quads and the clusters, making my rake points as I am going, just so nothing is moving around. And usually, so I do two things. Sometimes I like to wait until the end to make my rake points on the floor, but sometimes I like to make it while I'm going, just in case. Oh, there go that dupe I added right there in that quad at the bottom. But sometimes I like to make them at the end, or sometimes I like to make it during. That way, the design that I'm going for don't, be moved or misplaced, if that makes sense. Because sometimes the balloon can start moving around if you don't have it rigged down somewhere. But there I added a quad at that right side. As you can see now, it has like a pointiness to it, which really I think gives the shape to a lot of things. When it has a definite point to it, it gives it another, it's like attractive in my eyes. I don't know, you guys, that's how I see it. Let me know if you see the same thing, when like the garland has like a nice sharp point to it. To me, it makes it look way more attractive. Just like I had added that quad and it gave it another point to it. You guys know I love ending my garlands off with a quad on, or like a cluster of 6, then a quad right next to it. So I tied that down. I didn't like it because it was kind of pushing it down more, too tight. You see how it looks? So I took I just ripped it apart. That way it wasn't directly attached to the quad underneath it, because it was making it push down too far and I didn't like how that was looking. So I kind of left it a little bit loose, if that makes sense. And here I skipped, don't be mad at me guys, because when I got to the top I ended up skipping some of the right side that I did. But it was 3 clusters and then 3 quads. So every color had a cluster and a quad basically. And here I'm adding on this draping that I found on Amazon. Everything that I used I did find on Amazon, other than the frame and the vase. The frame is from eFabermark and the vase was from Target. So you guys see how the draping was falling down. I used some more of the clear tape to just hold it down. That way it didn't move. And I made sure it wasn't showing in the front of the frame. I just put the tape on like the top of the frame and the back. And then on the left side, so the right side, I tied a knot around it, and then the vase ended up covering it, so I was okay with it. The right side, I did end up using some fishing line to tie it against the frame. The only thing with the draping, I will have made sure I should have maybe flared out the left side of it a little bit more, like how the right side was, but because the right side looked a little bit wide. One other thing with the Pampas grass. So I transported the Pampas grass 2 ways. One of them, as you can see on the right side, the Pampas was inside the vase. And then the other way I transported it, I had it inside the high flow bag. What I did not know, because I never did this before, is when you put Pampas grass, so how I prep the Pampas grass, I put them out in the sun for about 2 hours and I sprayed them with some hairspray or whatever to help with the shedding. But the day before, I kept them out for like a week before I even, had to use them for the event, but the day before I put them in a hot float bed to, you know, prep for transportation. Only the extra ones I had that didn't go inside the vase, and when I got to the site, some of them started to go back down and not be fluffy. So what I had to do is, which I was happy that it was an outdoor right there near the exit, well, going to like the outside area, and it was sunny, so I just took out the pampas grass out the bag once I noticed, and I just took it outside and laid it there into the sun until I was ready for them. And now I went to go pick them back up. And this is me putting in the pampas. Now, I personally don't care too much for pampas grass directly inside the garland, only because it sticks out like a sore thumb. So I kind of position it where as though it's standing up and not actually poking at us. I like the floral in my eyes to like lay down, but whatever. This is the final look, you guys. If you haven't seen the post on my Instagram, you can go check out my Instagram. It's at Balloons by Lee with the number 3 at the end. But this is the final setup. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave one in the comments. I try to reply to everybody's comments, and then don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So here I'm just going to show you guys a few things I would have done differently. So I would have changed the position on several different 5 inches. So this one, this one, this one, and then on this quad, I would have changed it to a cluster of 6 balloons. So you see how it's kind of lifting up? I would have changed that. And that's pretty much it for this so far. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoy this tutorial. You guys really seem to enjoy the pictures and the reel on Instagram. So I hope I get the same love on the tutorial. And I see you guys in the next video. Bye.